Hello? Hello? Hello. It's Jet back again. We're doing something a little different today. Today we're actually going to be talking about what defaults are in Overwatch. And I actually brought in Cusco. Cusco, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Right. So just to get started, what do you think a default is? We've kind of been talking about this for a while now. And I kind of want to know what you think it means.
What my opinion on a default is something that you do without thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like an autopilot. You
Okay.
just do it.
Subconscious act. Yeah, because I think it's a job that's been done so much, and it's an action in Overwatch that we've done so much that we just don't even think about it. So habits in our play are beneficial. Is this about what you are thinking that it is?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I think habits in our play that are beneficial. Okay. I'm kind of thinking of it more as a job. So like what does the tank do? Etc. And you have support and then DPS. But these are all underneath actually the game of Overwatch. So what's the goal of Overwatch? What are we supposed to do? And it's, to win a game of Overwatch. Because having fun in Overwatch is different than winning in Overwatch. So I think it's important to specify to win a game of Overwatch. How do we do it? What do you think? How do you win a game of Overwatch, Cusco?
Cap the point.
Okay, control the objective.
Yep.
And it's split up into two. We have attack and we have defense. So let's talk about that. What's the difference? What are your defaults on attack? What's your job?
Go to the payload and initiate.
Okay, so go to objective. What are some of the disadvantages that we have that defense has over us? I think time is one of them.
Yeah. Yes.
So
100%.
time is our enemy on attack, where on defense, time is our friend. And we get to choose when to initiate. Unless we win a fight. Then it's about taking space. So the where of a post fight. With me so far?
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about defense a little bit. What's their main thing? How do they win?
Uh by bleeding time and winning fights.
Right. So preventing other team from completing objective. And in this case, so how do we do that? Time is our friend. Make the enemy team waste as much time as possible. So you do that by denying touching the objective.
Denying space.
Yep, that's denying space to get to objective. Getting kills. And we can go on, but it's basically it's basically boils down to two things, right? No touchy point and make them waste time. You do that by getting elims. and also just denying them space because they don't want to engage. Okay. Now, let's actually get into the 3 roles. So Overwatch's 3 roles, as a lot of you know. There's tanks, DPS, and supports. Oh, before we go on to this, is there anything else on defense that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's all the main things, really.
Gotcha. All right. So tanks, and they're all 3 different, and they're all 3 necessary to win a game. And each role has carry potential. So what's the primary role of a tank?
To take and create space and hold space.
Control. And create, which I think these 2 are pretty similar. What's the DPS's?
Basically just to do damage, really.
Right. I say do damage, but help tanks take space. Get elims.
Yeah, confirm kills.
What about supports?
To heal and to enable their team.
Heal if someone will die. If not healed. Else do damage. Help tanks take space. Use your cooldowns effectively. And that's for really each hero. And that brings me to mind. Yeah.
More so on support.
So we're gonna dive into this later, but there's one other thing that I realized that it's actually supersedes these 3 things. Before we move on to that, is there anything that you want to add real quick to the defaults of each role?
No, I think that's pretty much boiled down to basically what those rules want to do.
So for the individual player, this is general for all roles, player defaults. We'll do general defaults. So, what's the first one? You know what it is. We've been saying it like all week.
Lane control.
Assist in lane control. Yes. / controlling the map. All right. So how do we do this? It's another like big buzzword that was in that default video by Egoist Cat. He said this is the most important resource in Overwatch.
I don't think I remember that.
It's attention.
Attention. I do remember that.
So we lane control by paying attention to one or more lanes. Why not all 3? Why can't we pay attention to all 3 as an individual?
Because you're not going to have enough resources to contest all 3.
Right.
It's a waste.
It's hard.
A waste of time.
If you can, sure, but there's a difference between, and we're going to break down attention more, but there's a difference between like being aware of what's going on in that lane and then actually like dedicating resources to control the lane. So let's break that down. So attention, there is your awareness. And then there's also abilities and cooldowns. So what are you ready to do to control said lane? So this includes just basic damage, a Reinhardt swing, a Cassidy left click, Ana left clicks. And then there's your cooldowns. So in a way, I can control my backline as Ana by saving sleep for Doomfist, who might knock me down. Because now I think we're actually at a decent spot to talk about lane control, to move into that. Is there, let's see, other player defaults. Also, there's cap the point. Do damage. Everybody needs to do damage. Okay. Anything else you want to add to this before we could talk about lane control?
Nope. Let's get it moving.
Awesome. Oh, actually, I need to undo that because I can make this a PowerPoint later. Yeah, we're still here. I'm just making a Word document real quick. Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks for the wait. Get rid of all this. Okay, so the next thing is lane control. So lane control is one of the most important things because it allows you to do damage. And it allows you to contest point. Or, if defense, to, well, no, but you attack and defense, you have to contest the point, so that's fine. I don't need to add anything there. And what else does lane control do? Is there anything else you want to add, Cusco?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Allows you, well, it just allows you to be in the best position.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Allows best position. Okay, and then we were saying that we create lane control by attention. What sort of attention? So we said cooldowns, and awareness of what's going on. So there's CD usage. This is knowing what they do and when to use them. This is basically how you get value from your CD. And this applies to all roles. All right. And then there's awareness. Let's talk about that and what it is for all roles. So what's Cusco, to include you here, what's some of the general things of awareness? What is that?
Being aware of your surroundings or knowing what is around you.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right. And to be specific, where other, that's an H. That's a horrible H. Fuck.
It looks like an H to me.
I just want to erase. Yeah, here we go. Okay. It's supposed to be an R. God damn it. Okay. And I want to write. Here we go. Sorry. Where other players are. 5 of them are easy. What the fuck? What am I typing? Because that's your team, and then the other 6 are hard. But ideally, you want to know where all 11 are. Because there's 12 in a game. Soon to be where all 9 are.
There's always going to be 12 people on a map, so you know the maximum amount of players that are going to be in a fight.
For now, and where all of them are. Yeah, okay, and then also awareness with lane control is knowing what your team is doing, like what your teammates are doing. Like if I'm teammate actions, that's what we'll call them. We're aware of this. Our Ryan's trying to take space, so maybe I can bubble him as Zarya so he can just go swing. I see that my Genji is going to go challenge their Zen. I can throw him a pack because I'm Brig. My Ana is being dove by a Doomfist, and I'm Casty, so maybe I'll stand next to her and just swat him away. Things like that. So what are actions that we can do to help our teammates? Are we aware of that? And where other players are. I think another piece of awareness is resource management. That's another thing of lane control. So again, this is CDs and positioning. How to take advantage of that. Are you still with me? Everything making sense? I'm kind of getting in the weeds here.
No, everything makes sense to me. I mean, the resource management I didn't even realize, but I do that subconsciously. So
yep. So what cooldowns I have? So like it's hard to sleep a gating Genji if I don't ever have sleep because I'm just using it off a cooldown. Okay,
or I'm going for a flank with a Roadhog.
Right.
I missed my hook. I got to get out of the lane, so I'm probably going to die.
Right. Okay, so I think that's about it for general player defaults. We want to do lane control. Lane control is also going to allow us to contest the point. So we don't, if we're attack, we want to capture the point. If we're defending, we want to prevent them from doing that. And then the other thing is do damage. So why do you think doing damage is important?
I think doing damage is important because it forces resources.
Right. Forces resources. One of those is time. Happens from a limbs. That's why if you're able to easily secure a kill, you should go for it. Time happens after a limbs.
Limbs are important.
Yep.
Because if somebody has resources they haven't used, you basically deny them all of their resources that they haven't used.
Yep. And then there's also CD trades. If you can get like a nade out, do damage to get them to use resources like lamp, nade, amp, healing station, that you can get them to use a cooldown not as effectively. And then there's also ult trade. And a cooldown trade is also trading a cooldown for another cooldown. We'll write that out.
If you trade sleep dart for a monkey bubble, that's a good trade.
Right. And then there's, or another way to do it is an ult for a lot of cooldowns. And then ult trade is CD for ult trade. CD for ult. And then a cooldown. Sorry. And also an ult for an ult. Okay. Ult for, and also basic damage. That's what doing damage does. It also forces enemy attention. If you can do a lot of damage to a tank and get the Ana or their flex support to have to spend time healing them, that's a good time to dive them. For your DPS to dive the back line or your tank line, or however it's working. It's stuff like that.
Basically, to sum up the do damage is you want to do as much damage as possible without using resources.
Right.
Basically. But if you are going to use resources, you want to make sure you get the most value by trading them out.
Right. And then also with lane control, there's safety. So if you have to trade your life to do damage, so let's talk about trades. If you have to sacrifice your positioning in order to just do some extra poke damage and knowing that it'll kill you, don't do it. So consider the consequences of your actions all the time. So if you can trade, your life for two of them, that's a good trade. Especially if you're Tracer and you can 2v1 their backline. Yeah, you might die, but that's a good trade. But if you're, trying to spawn kill and you keep dying for it, that's not a good trade. So it's what resources are you taking? What resources are you taking? And what resources are you giving? The next question you need to ask, do they provide value for the team? Okay. Missing anything?
Nope, I think that's majority.
Right on. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is value. I think that's something that we need to go over. Taking a screenshot of this. Let's talk about value. What is it? So what do you think value is as a player?
Value as a player, for me specifically, value as a player is something beneficial in my eyes.
Right.
So
I think it's you make good trades.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
Because the whole game is trading resources against their resources. So you, what that means is what a good trade is you make net positive. So I think we kind of need to talk some difference between net and gross. Net is what you're left with. And gross is what you gave to get your net. So, for example, if the new Star Wars movie comes out, it makes $10 billion net, but it costs them $30 million. Sorry, it would cost them $10 million gross because they made $20 million off of it, but it cost them 10. So it's a good trade. But if their net was negative, so if it was negative 10,000, that would mean that they spent $10,000. If it made 10 million back, but you spent 13 million, that's a negative 3,000 net or 3 million net. Does that make sense? Or do I kind of need to write it out? So when net's negative, that's a bad trade. You're making bad trades. Just to swing this back into Overwatch. When net is positive, you're making good trades. But no one's going to tell you this during the middle of the game. This is just stuff that you start learning instinctively. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's pretty much just a bit, honestly.
Cool. That's the whole point. Sorry for the rant on net and gross. When net positive, good trades.
We can put this into an Overwatch example specifically. Yeah. For example, so let's say you're playing Monkey. They have a Brigana. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you jump on them and they use Bash, Sleep, and Nade, that's 3 resources for your bubble and your jump, right?
Right.
So that is a net of you getting Brig Bash.
Yes.
Your gross is you used all of your cooldowns, but you got 3 cooldowns in return.
Well, gross is what I was trying to say was it's everything that you spent to get your net.
Wait, did I? Did I say that right? Oh no, I probably didn't say that right.
I don't know. But gross is what you gave. Net is what you received. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. I get you.
So if you're giving a lot to get a little, your net is negative. If you're giving a little to get a lot, your net is positive. Okay. And that's pretty much what we mean. So another thing we have to do as players is to assess our value. What are we doing for the team? And how can I be doing better? So basically, am I doing my job? And I think this is a good segue into, am I doing my job? I think this is a good segue into our roles. Don't you think?
I would agree 100%.
We have to assess our value all the time. And I think for the sake of time and length, I'm going to stop it here. So next time we'll actually get into, so I think we're actually ready to like get into tanks, supports, and DPS when we actually have our players come in and we talk about it with them. I think we can like get into the weeds there. So I think this one is just going to be just like general Overwatch and player defaults. That's what we'll call this. And then next time we'll actually get into tanks.
Basic player defaults and understanding.
Right.
Those.
And then I suppose after we do these defaults, maybe we'll like get into comps. But I think it's just more important for our players right now to understand their defaults and their role. And then once we understand that, then we can start doing wacky comps. You know, the rush or the double bubble or the ball sigma, like, you know, those traditional ones.
Yeah, double bubble, double shield.
Yep. Those spam.
All of the above.
Brawl, dive, stuff like that. I think it's more important that we understand our role so that when we get to these comps, we just start to naturally understand what our role is doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can acclimate to them easier.
Right. So I'm going to cut the VOD here. And for those dear listeners that made it to the end, thank you, and check you out next time.